Yes, you do. All right, cheers.
Cheers.
Hello and welcome to Cooking Magic Meals. You're joining me here live from Yem Home today.
Yem. Lucy, Tiny Chef, Tiny Kitchen. We're in a new spot.
We are. We're not in the tiny kitchen anymore. We've proven that you can cook superfood, nutrition packed superfood on a budget in a tiny kitchen. We've proved this. So now we've upgraded to a larger space.
The tiny kitchen's in my heart.
Exactly.
Really. It's just always there. But yes, to have this kind of space is, and it'll be easier to show you guys what we're doing, which is the whole point behind that. So, yeah.
So what are we doing today is what I want to know. I'm very excited.
I'm very excited as well because I love a good curry. So we're doing a vegetarian vegan curry, coconut curry with carrot, sweet potato, broccoli, and kabocha squash. You could interchange those vegetables as much as you want. As like, in alignment with the whole Tiny Chef brand, LOL brand, I like to make things that are so versatile that you could just throw in another vegetable. Oh, I don't have those potatoes, but I have these. Great, throw those in. Like I happen to have a squash on hand that needs to get eaten, so I might throw it in the curry. You know, curries are very forgiving that way, and they just welcome all vegetables. You know, they're non-discriminatory. So okay, so we'll get going. Yeah.
Amazing. Let's do it.
Okay, so we're gonna do this curry with rice. And I'll get to that shortly, but we're going to start by sauteing onions and garlic. It's like the foundation for flavor. Welcome to flavor country. Okay, so I'm going to put this on low. I like to get my, that's the right burner. Hi, new spot. Right burner.
Kitchen.
That's really helpful to use the burner that you're using the pan on. It's my first tip. Okay, so I'm going to put on medium heat and I'm going to let this get a little hot before I put the oil in. It just disperses the oil more evenly. So I brought a mustard seed oil, which is very common in Indian cooking. It's got a really unique flavor. I'm going to use a teeny bit of that. It's really like rich golden color. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I'm going to pour it. Maybe you get the light of it.
It does look beautiful.
And then I'm going to do a little bit of coconut oil. And sometimes when you are cooking, you don't want to use coconut oil because it gives it a real coconutty flavor, but we're doing a coconut curry, so bring on the coconut. Okay, so I'm going to let that kind of, the oil get hot first as well. Kind of just move it around the pan. All these little things are so important. There's kind of things you learn along the way, really, or by watching this show.
This is how I learn. I certainly didn't know how to do very many of the useful things you've taught me before.
So some cooks, I'm just going to do it for effect, we'll throw in a little bit of like a seed. This is coriander. You can throw in mustard and cumin. And you'll know when the oil is hot enough when it pops, when the seed pops. I kind of just go off of like, it seems hot enough. I'm sure you can also guess. And then we do the onions first, because they'll take longer than the other base of flavor. So that's a good thing to touch on. So when you're building a soup or a curry for that matter, depending on the type of vegetables you wanted to use, you add them in layers. So the onions take a while to cook, they go first, you know. If I put the garlic in first or the ginger in first, they would burn before the onions would be done. So it's kind of like, you're thinking ahead a bit, but it's really, after doing it once or twice, you're like, oh yeah, I messed up on that. Now I know why. So I'm going to chop up this garlic a little bit so it's ready to go in. So we're doing garlic, onion, and ginger for the base of the soup to like really impart some depth of flavor. And I've already smashed this garlic a little bit. I think we talked about this last time. But when you use garlic in any recipe, you want to cut it or smash it and let it sit for 5 minutes. When you do that, it releases the allicin, which is the medicinal component which makes garlic so powerful. The longer you let it sit, the more of that gets released, the more you get in your body, the better and healthier you are.
So that is a witch tip.
That's a kitchen witch tip.
Hashtag.
Hashtag. up. And again, with the curry, like I said, forgiving. So, you know, a lot of people care about their knife skills. It doesn't matter how uniform these things are because it's going to get lost in the curry and then we won't even know what it looks like in the beginning. That's not always the case. I'm looking for Lucy's doing now.
Right in front of us.
Give those a little stir. And I can see that these are kind of, it's browning the bottom of the pan, which is awesome because that browning is what gives anything its flavor. I kind of scrape it off the bottom continually so I can get it into the soup. So the onions are nice and coated. They're cooking themselves down a bit, so now I can probably add some garlic. So I'm going to add garlic to the base of the soup, and then I'm going to save some, maybe if I want to get fancy, and fry it for a little crunch on top of the soup.
Ooh, yeah.
That was my original thinking, but we'll see what happens. But it's not necessary. It's just little, like, you know, little things you can add to a dish, little magic things, forethought, garlic in.
So she's chopped that quite small, and for me, with my little one, I like to note this because I do tend to make it really chunky and just throw it in and hope for the best. And I feel like this reminds me, no, take a little bit more time because it makes a big difference to the flavor, right?
Yes, it can. I mean, not so much in a curry necessarily. It's still pretty big of a rough chop, but it'll just help on cooking time, dispersing the garlic throughout. But you could do like half cloves of garlic in there. I kind of like that too. I mean, you could go multiple directions with any of these recipes. It's the whole point. You know, like you add your own twist in there.
Yeah.
Okay, so ginger. I've already chopped some up here, the magic of television. I'm going to throw that in now, but I also want to give you a little tip on the ginger, which you probably have also covered before, but it's worth repeating. So before I learned this trick, I used to do ginger like this and cut out the skin, yeah?
This is a brilliant tip.
But you lose a lot of the actual ginger. So if you take a spoon and just hold it from the back and scrape off the skin, you save all that ginger and it's much easier, and then you can just chop from there. See? Like so.
I learned this from you. Changed my life.
I don't know where I learned this, but it did change my life as well. So ginger's already in there. And you can see it's browning. And if you really wanted to get fancy, you could get like, well, I have some, so I'm going to turn down the heat a bit before you throw the alcohol in because it'll get active. I'm going to throw a little bit of, just to get some of that magic smoke, just to get some of that, the browning off of the bottom of the pan. Again, just helping to caramelize these flavors a bit. Okay, so I've got kabocha squash in the oven that I'm pre-roasting and I'll add it in later. Actually, do you want to check it?
Yes.
Let me just pull that out.
Yes.
And then I've got tofu here that I'm going to probably bake, I think too, so we can leave that on. I just seasoned it with a little salt, a little Chinese 5-spice, and that's about it. But you could season it with anything you like. And then potatoes will go in first because they'll take the longest.
Would you like me to take this out or just test it?
Oh yeah, take it out.
Okay.
Actually, right there is potatoes chopped already. Those go in. Give them a little toss, coat them with some oil. I'll let them like fry a bit and then I'll cover it and let it steam so they cook a little faster. And then, order of toughness, the carrots will go in next. Maybe usually broccoli would go in, however I bought broccolini, which is way softer and cooks faster. So we're gonna keep that in mind and put that in last. Because I also like to keep the green vegetables like a bright green. You know when you overcook green vegetables and they're just like not appetizing looking because now they look brown? We don't want to do that. We want to keep ours like bright and fresh but also cooked, you know? So I'm just having these in any old way that you like. There are recipes where you shred the potatoes and the carrots. I didn't want to do that. I like chunks. I like to like have it be almost meaty in a way, you know?
It's almost better for kids as well because then they can see what they're eating and that's really handy with learning about the rainbow foods.
Oh yes, and they can pick it up if they don't like it.
Yeah.
But the rule in my house is always like, you can not like something, but you have to try it first. So we all just, you know, spit out a lot of food. I did, because I was wrecked, for sure. But I like that rule in general, you know. And then she would make us try it again when we got older. She's like, your taste buds may have changed. Maybe you like this now. And come to find out, your taste buds do change, like every 7 years. So if you didn't like something 7 years ago, maybe you give it a taste. Maybe you like it now. Maybe you don't. Like raw tomatoes, I can never get behind that.
Oh no?
I don't like them. And also, did you know that their cancer-fighting properties, the lycopene and the antioxidants in it, actually is more powerful in your body when they're cooked.
So it's the opposite to most things.
Well, it just depends on what vegetable profile. Even carrots. Carrots are better cooked for you than raw.
Yes. Carrots, tomatoes, anything else?
Yeah, that was great. I can't think right now.
Now I put her on the spot.
I'm sure there is. So
Answers on a postcard, answers on a blog post.
Yeah, we'll address that in a blog post. So I'm just checking potato to see if it's a little done. It's not. So what I'm going to do is cover it. I want to give it a little something for steam. So,
Wine?
yeah. I'm splashing it because I want to keep mine. I already sacrificed the wine.
Very nice wine.
Yeah. That's an orange wine. Skin contact. So I'm going to cover that. Let that kind of cook down a bit. The squash is out. I'm going to throw the tofu in. Oh yeah, this is really good.
Yes.
I always overcook the kabocha. I mean, it'd still be good.
It's supposed to be overcooked, everybody.
Well, yes, okay. Truthfully, no, though, as a tip. In a curry, what I should have done, learned by my mistakes, what I should have done is like par cooked it, because once I threw it in there, it would cook more. Now, this is almost too mushy to even put in a curry. So we'll do something fun with it later, I don't know. Maybe we'll roast it and put it on top, I don't know. But that's what I should have done. And that's what you should do in making this recipe.
But this is real life. We expect you to make this at home, and there will be errors, and you'll need to use your own judgment and leadership to figure it out. And that's the point of this show, because you learn and you are empowered to make it exactly what you want it to be, and to just roll with the punches like you have to with the little ones.
Yeah, and you can't really get it wrong. Like what we just did. Like, okay, so I overcooked that. Well, instead of being like, oh, I just messed up that recipe, I'm like, how do I turn this into a positive, unique, awesome, magical way of serving this? I don't know. So I've just posed that question to myself. Maybe I coat the tofu with kabocha.
Now she's doing it.
And then bake it.
Looks fabulous.
We'll try some of those like that. I'm gonna throw this in the oven. Let's check on the potatoes. So yeah, potatoes are super starchy, so if you don't wash them, they'll just start sticking to the bottom of the pan. Which is kind of what has happened, but that's alright, because once you pour the coconut cream in and the liquids, it'll right itself. So those are kind of, they're almost there. I'm gonna throw the carrots in. It's all very intuitive, but carrots will take some time as well, so we'll throw those in, let them cook together, getting all these colors, all these antioxidants. Give that a good stir. That kabocha is so good. Oh, really delicious. I'm going to throw some coriander seeds in there. Because I just like the crunch of them.
Coriander seeds.
The seeds, like especially like the crunch of it, you know, not the powder, but yeah, it's just nice. So I'm going to turn it down even further, and I'm going to cover it again. Put a little water on the bottom of this. Good trick my dad taught me.
What's that for? What's it do?
Just put water on the pan, and then I cover it, you know, so it creates some steam. Just so it's a teeny bit, so I'm not pouring it directly in.
Yeah.
And it kind of just fills up. Would I ever have thought about this had I not quote unquote, messed it up? No, I mean, this is my whole, everything I want to impart on this show is like, get your hands dirty, mess up, make something that tastes like crap. or overcook something and then be like, what can I do with this? Like, how can I, even if it didn't work for this recipe, I would take that, I would blend it into a soup or something, you know, and just be like, we're not using kabocha for this one. Waiting for this recipe. Now, it's different if that ingredient was the foundation of the recipe, which luckily it's not for this. So, maybe the stir, scraping the bottom of the pan a lot, getting those good browning juices. Like, seriously, that is the flavor. The sweetness from the onions and the garlic and the ginger.
I think it's ready. You're gonna have to tell me.
Yeah, that'll do fine.
Do you feel like this is up to par?
Yeah, that's fine. Why not? We don't know. We've never done it before. So yeah.
It's good.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
Okay.
All right, and those go.
Throw that back in.
Hopefully it's not going to stick, but we'll see. But you know your meal's going to taste good if every item that you taste separately is well seasoned, is tasty. So that's another tip I always like. No matter what I'm making, if it's a sandwich, if it's a salad, like, I dress and season everything, every small element, and then put them all together. So there's all these dimensions of flavor. I guess what we should do now, though, while this is kind of cooking, is the rice. And I have a special way of doing rice. I mean, it's not so special. A lot of cultures do it
I
this way.
think it's special. If it's the thing you were talking about the last time we did rice
the
together, I thought it was
finger roll.
really nice.
So last time we were here, I used a rice cooker for the first time. I remember used rice cookers. I was always taught, I don't measure the rice at all. I mean, I might, depending on like how many people I want to feed, just to get an idea, but I'm feeding 4 of us. So that looks about right to me, okay? So I'm gonna rinse the rice just once. A lot of people rinse it a lot because they want to get the starch out, but I want some of the starch. Starch has good nutritional properties, right? So, and it makes the rice tastier. Just give it a good little rinse, and then I'll dump that out. And then, to measure the water level, I cover the rice, and then I check it with my finger. I'll show you just now. Somehow this always works out for me. That's how my mom taught me. So I take my hand this way, and I place the top part of my fingers on the rice. And if the water comes up to like this 3rd knuckle marking, then it's perfect. It doesn't quite, so I'm going to do a little bit more water. Okay. That's about good, yeah. And then you can season this with whatever you want. We're just going to do very simple because we're going to have so much flavor in here. So I'm going to put a little salt in there. You could do like cumin seeds if you wanted. You could do, I actually have fenugreek leaves that I brought, so I might toss those in later. And then we'll turn that on and let the rice go on burner. We'll let the rice boil, and then we're going to set a timer for 20 minutes once it boils. So we'll go back to this. So basically, if you are a mom, you know how to cook. It's just massive multitasking.
False. I am a mother.
I mean,
not that good at cooking.
Maybe you don't know how to cook, but you have the skill set in which to thrive, which is basically multitask like a momo.
And I have questions, and I ask the right people the right questions, I think. Because I learn every time we do a recipe together, I learn so much.
And that's just the way, it's like, you know how many things I've made that were not that great? A lot. But you just get in there and you like play around, and like eventually you start learning what flavors go together, how to cook certain things, what order to cook them in. And then when I mess up, it's not so bad, you know? Like I still mess up, but not in the way I once did. But it's like everything, practice makes perfect, you know? If at first you don't succeed, who knows it?
Try again, or
Thank
just
you.
take the advice of the chef.
Yeah, or do that. Okay, so that's almost. I'm gonna give it a little longer. I could throw the curry on if I wanted to now, but I'm just gonna let it cook a little longer and then put the broccoli in. So, while that's doing that, and that's not high enough, you want this to boil first. Oh yeah, I think they told me this is the one that's not does never go high. So we're gonna skip the burner. We're gonna take it to the back burner. To the back burner.
It's like the name of an album.
Back burner. That's a good name for an album. Okay, so this is coconut cream. Okay, just open a couple cans. This is the concentrated cream. This is not the milk, but you could do the milk.
So why are you whisking it?
Because it separates the fat from the liquid in the can, so I want it to like be a little more cohesive. And then I'm gonna season the milk before I pour it in. So I've got this beautiful all-in-one curry delight. Curry is a lot of different things, but this one's got turmeric, ginger, coriander, cumin, basil, fenugreek, onion, black pepper, chicory. So I'm gonna throw some of that in there. And then
what could be substitutes, like the things that people may already have at home?
Oh, well, if you have coriander, if you have cumin, if you have turmeric, fennel, you can make your own curry. But it's quite easy to find a nice curry.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna add a little turmeric because it's just so good for you, and it's gonna give it a little more color. And then what else do I want to put in here? I think that's probably gonna be good. Now whisk that up. Oh, you know what I'm gonna put in there? I might need to add a little actual water because I'm using the cream instead of the milk. But we'll see. We'll see what happens once you pour this in. So I don't want it to be too thick. However, again, to your taste. Like some people like a really thick curry, some people like more soupy curry. Can't really get it wrong.
I just love curry. I'm British, so it is a national treasure.
A national treasure.
Love a curry.
It's a national treasure.
It's so fabulous.
It is. It's so satisfying, you know? Like it's something very comforting. So I'm gonna do something a little avant-garde, and I'm gonna throw like some more flavor into this.
What's
this is a
this?
mushroom bouillon that I use quite often in my cooking. It's called umami bouillon. Tonic mushrooms, smoked mushrooms, tamari. It's got shiitake, onion, tamari, tomato powder, yeast, seaweed, reishi, paprika, cordyceps, like a ton of superfoods.
Nice.
I'm using this. And it gives really good flavor. And I just kind of throw it into a lot of stuff.
Oh, it smells so nice.
Yeah, I can only find that at
It's
Airwell.
like, it smells meaty. That's the only way I can describe meaty.
No, umami is the meat flavor. So,
Where do you
umami,
get it from? I love
Airwell.
it.
You can buy it online.
You can probably order it on it. It's very nice. It's marketed directly to people like me.
Yes. It's not cheap, but it lasts a long time, and it does a lot of good.
I'm gonna get some of this.
Do you want to check on the tofu?
I shall. How would you like it to be looking? Like toasty on the top, or?
I mean, I don't know because...
I think it needs longer.
Okay.
100% guessing.
Yeah. But see, those little guesses are usually right. So because this is broccolini, I'm going to use the stems as well in the dish. And I might very well use stems of regular broccoli in here as well. Because they're really nice and they look like little aliens. I wish I had actual broccoli. Because when you cut the bottom, you know how it's all kind of
That is
weird. It looks like a little alien.
to eat the broccoli, little
Yeah.
aliens.
But you can cut them thin. And they're so good. Just like that. Use it as a chip and other things.
Yes.
But we're going to throw them in. Because they have good nutrition too. And I'm just going to like cut the crowns a bit. Like that. I'm about ready to add these things. So the trick is again, timing of these vegetables. So like, if I didn't time it right, these could be overcooked, and then the broccoli's not cooked enough, and it's a disaster. And no one will eat it, and my show will be over. Just kidding. It'll never be
Believe
over.
me, in my household, we know it's done when it bubbles over and destroys the stove top. So her version of getting things wrong is different than in my household.
The rice is almost bubbling, like I said. Multitasking. But you know, we have wine to like keep us busy in between. And I was talking to Faye earlier about like perhaps including every episode like what we're drinking and why.
Yes.
So I've done that a lot, pairing wines and cocktails with certain foods. It's a whole art into itself, which I love. So curry, in general, a white wine's great. This is an orange wine. Beer, sake, but we also brought a Château de Pop.
Yes.
It's a French red. We have it chilling. I feel like red wine should have a slight chill on it always. I hate when I get served warm red wine. I don't know why, it just really bugs me. It doesn't need to be ice cold, but like, give it a little chill. Just kind of makes the flavors pop a bit.
So, I've been being treated for weeks now to her amazing mixology skills and the fact that she is a holistic nutritionist, right? So I arrive and she'll pair the dish with whatever tipple she chooses, whether it's a superfood or alcoholic beverage, whatever. But it's always the highest grade ingredients, always organic, always served at exactly the right temperature and exactly the right method for the texture and the taste and just the whole atmosphere to be perfect. So I felt like it would now be doing it a disservice on Magic Meals to not at least say what it is we are consuming and how. You know, should it be chilled? How should it be served? Because she is a master when it comes to this as well. So
I just like to eat well, and I just like really enjoy high quality stuff. And like when you're pairing the right thing with the right thing, it just elevates the whole experience. Like I just kind of like to eat like a queen, you know. And I like others to eat like that as well. So I put in the stems first because they're going to be the hardest, longest to cook, and then we'll do the crowns later. It's getting there. Oh, the rice is boiling.
oh, perfect. I'll check on the tofu.
Just gonna check on the tofu. It takes a village. Give it a little stir. I'm gonna cover this. Does anyone have a phone we can put our timer on?
I think it's almost ready.
Can we put a timer on for Siri? Who wants to be in charge of that?
I cannot. My phone is filming things.
Oh, mine is. I'll do it.
Oh, show me where yours is.
It's over there. So 20 minutes once I put the lid on. I guess I could look, but to help myself out while I'm doing a million things at once, I'm gonna ask Siri to help. Siri, set me a timer for 20 minutes. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. You gotta be nice to robots. They're gonna rule the world one day.
This is the future. We're in the future, everybody.
Mark my word, she's remembering who is nice to her and who yells at her.
Oh, 100%.
When Siri takes over, I'll be in good graces.
You won't be in the Matrix anymore.
Look how
Siri
pretty.
takes over.
Yeah. So I've got my green, and like I said, I like to keep the green flavor, but make sure it's cooked. So I don't want to like overcook my greens, because when you overcook them, the green part of the vegetable is the chlorophyll, right? That's the mitochondria feeding life, sun energy of the green vegetable. And when you overcook it, you take that away, and it's not as potent, and it's also not as good. It's just funny that those things coordinate. Same thing with like when a vegetable is ripe, or when a fruit is ripe. When it's at its perfect height of ripeness is when it's also at its perfection of nutrition density. So it's like things are meant to be eaten at a certain time in a certain way.
Makes sense.
See, look at this thing. Doesn't that look like a little alien? I'll have to give that to Blaze.
Oh,
This is what I mean, look. Alien vegetables.
He'll eat it just because he thinks it's an alien. And he's a dinosaur.
Oh yeah, he's more powerful than a dragon.
Oh, 100%, yes.
All right, I'm gonna throw the crowns in now. And when I'm at home, because I was trained this way, I would be cleaning as I'm going. It just sets you up for when you're done. You're not like, ah! But every cook has their own method. Like I know cooks who like destroy the kitchen, come up with this best meal, and they don't care. They go back and they clean after. That freaks me out, and I can't get as creative when everything is everywhere. Yeah, see? One of my best friends, same way. She's like, just throws everything. And I'm not clean by any means. Like my mom would laugh at this episode if she heard me talking. She comes up behind me when I'm at her house and we'll pick this up and wash it and put it away, and I'm like, Mom, where's the whisk? She's like, well, I cleaned it. I'm like, but I'm still using it.
Oh my goodness.
She's that bad.
I was on the phone to my mum and dad in England, in Lancashire, England, and my mum was like recanting this tale of my dad throwing out the pancake mix that she'd made. My mum doesn't like to cook, by the way, at all. She detests it. So clearly this is a big deal that she's made this pancake mix. She sets it down by the sink, and my dad comes in cleaning up and just tips it out.
Oh no.
So my mum's recanting this tale, and my dad's just staring at me through FaceTime as if to say, this is traumatic for me.
That is traumatic. I would be very upset. And that's also why it's hard to have, there's only a few people in my life that I can cook with and work in tandem. And I know everything's going to go smoothly. Other people, I'm like, get out and away from me. She's not one of them, obviously. But a lot of people are.
I'm just lucky to be here.
I feel the same way. So that's cooking. We got maybe 15 minutes. I'm going to let this cook down a little bit longer.
Perfect.
I mean, I could throw the curry in. And on another day, the coconut cream, on another day I just might. But today, for some reason, I'm going to my nutrition and it says that this took down a little bit longer.
I think we're finished.
Alright, let me take those out, let them sit.
I'm 100%.
I also made, I had this in the fridge, so I'm just going to add it to the dish. It's a flax, hemp, cashew, pine nut milk that I made for another dish for a client. So again, I'm going to turn this on low before I add this, because if I don't, it'll burn on the bottom of the pan. You can even just take it off the heat source, yeah. I actually want another little bit more liquid too. I'm just going to use this with a nice wine. That's another tip. Like, always have some cooking wine on hand, so you don't have to pour in your good drinking wine. Just pour in some cheap up chuck.
Does it not matter? Does it not need to be high quality if you're cooking with it?
No. Because you're basically burning off the alcohol, and you're just getting the alcohol essence flavor, which is the sugars in it anyway.
Okay.
And the acid, so it all ends up the same. So yeah, tip number 507. Get cooking wine. Okay. I'm gonna add this. This is my own little, because if you want it to be more liquidy, you just add more, like you could add soy milk, you could add almond milk, whatever you have on hand. And then the coconut. This coconut is quite thick, yeah. So what I'm going to do here is put a little bit more water. Oh my god, those look lovely.
Right. I could put them back in for a little bit more time if you prefer, but
I'll check them in a sec, but I think they might be good. So add a little bit of water. Every time you add water, you're going to probably want to add more seasoning, more salt, more flavor, right? Which makes sense. And then I'm going to keep it on very low and let that just kind of cook down and get magical on its own. I'm going to cover it and taste it.
What's the wish for the dish?
Delicious. The wish for the dish. That all the vegetables cook evenly. My wish for the dish is that whoever eats this knows their true power and their real essence and how to yield that in the world.
Magical.
See, now I added the broccoli probably too soon because it's starting to turn, which most people would not give a fuck about. But I'm like, I just want it to have a bright green color. It's still gonna be great. It's not gonna be overcooked at all. It's like a matter of minutes of timing, If I was a more professional chef, I would have hit that on the nose. However,
this is also something that parents, you don't care about.
Yeah. No one cares about it actually, only me. Because when you taste the food, you're like, this is insanely amazing. Everyone forgets, everyone forgives like the rough, weird chops, the non-uniformity of whatever shapes of vegetables, like, because they taste it and they're like, oh my god, this is amazing. No one cares about anything else really.
Well, that's the point, right? Yeah. Witch tip, that's a life witch tip.
Speaking of, let's check the rice. Is it not perfect? That's hot. I want to show this camera. Like, we could do that, I guess, on camera, but look. Without measuring anything, with using my Creole skills. So basically what I was told is that A lot of black cultures do that, and Asian cultures do that, where they just put their fingers in it and then like don't measure anything, and it comes out
works perfectly.
Yeah, because most people really measure it out, but when I measure it out, I mess it up every time. I don't know, it's weird.
Mine just bubbles over and then it's done.
So this has got another 10 minutes.
There's a phrase in the military that goes like this: assumption is the mother of all fuck-ups. Don't do it.
Okay, so this woman is an ex-British Army captain who commanded troops in Afghanistan.
This is true. I did do that.
Like, would you ever in a million years guess that that's her background?
And now I'm a mummy who does well to not have banana on her top, you know?
Oh. I'm just gonna fluff this up. You could burn the bottom so easily. I think this spoon is a better tool.
I've definitely burnt the bottom on rice.
Oh, so have I.
times.
I might have done it this time. Just a teeny bit, just the right amount. Ooh. You know, rice is the one food that is no one has an allergy to. It's hypoallergenic.
Sorry, what did you just say? It's hypoallergenic?
Yeah, it's the one food that no one has an allergic reaction to.
Oh,
Like you can be allergic to everything.
Food, or
Yeah, I think so. There might be a few other random things. I mean, could be totally wrong about it, but I know this for sure is, like, everyone can eat rice. Coriander, ginger, black pepper. You can even do cinnamon, cardamom sometimes, fenugreek, fennel, cumin. Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like, it's just like the depth of flavor you can get in the curry. And like have it be like a creamy, it's usually a creamy like base.
So we're coming towards the end of the cooking time on this dish, and we threw in a few more ingredients while we were fast forwarding through the final stages of cooking. What did you just throw in towards the end there, Lucy?
So I threw in some more of this kabocha, squash. And like everything we do here on Little Lessons of Light, it's to taste. So I tasted it needed a little more flavoring, so I added more salt. And I tasted it again, I'm like, it needs a little more creaminess, so I added some more this and that. I added some coriander seeds. You could do all of these things, you could do some of them, you could do none of them. They're just kind of options and things to play with. But just taste as you go, you know, and then make it to your liking.
So we have this vegetable curry almost done. We have the tofu over here looking incredible also. And remember that we topped it with a little bit of the kabocha, right? So I'm going to show you this guy. And then how are you going to place this when we dish up?
So what you could do is cube it and throw it into the soup. You could also just serve it right on top, like for each dish, put one on top. For us, I'll probably put it on top, but to go, I'll just throw it all in there. So some of them can go in there right now.
Perfect.
Just gonna throw those in, because they'll get a ton of like flavor while they're in there.
Amazing.
And again, you see everything's like giant chunks. Like you could do it smaller if you wanted. In fact, if I would have did it smaller, it would have cooked faster.
And satisfying too, because they're big chunks, I think.
Yeah, they're like the meats. It's garlic and ginger and a little bit of oil. I'm just going to fry it up and then we'll sprinkle on top of the, might as well add more of that.
So we're going to let this cook down for probably about 7 more minutes now, but you guys have seen the entire method now, and the only thing it's going to leave us to do is dish it up and then take a beautiful picture to share with you guys on the next blog post by Lucy that will be available at Little Lessons of Light next week.
So good.
Thanks for joining us today, you guys. See you next week.
Ciao.